I always will. I'll always be friends with Modi. He's great. Prime Minister, he's great.
2025 has witnessed a dramatic reshuffling of global partnerships as India pivots from the US toward China amid Trump's aggressive trade policies. US-India relations have hit their lowest point in 25 years, while China-India ties are warming for the first time since 2018. Three major powers, the United States, India, and China, recalibrating their positions based on immediate strategic needs rather than long-term ideological alignments. Just months into US President Trump's second term, the US-India relationship has reached its lowest point in 25 years. The crisis began when Modi visited Washington in early 2025, expecting to maintain the friendship that characterized their previous interactions. Instead, he encountered a fundamentally changed dynamic. The deterioration accelerated through specific incidents. Indian nationals were deported on military aircraft just before Modi's visit, creating public embarrassment. Modi's requests to avoid punitive tariffs were ignored, with Trump subsequently imposing a devastating 27% tariff on India, significantly higher than the 10% imposed on China. The breaking point came during the Kashmir crisis in April-May 2025. After terrorist attacks killed 26 people, India responded with airstrikes on Pakistani territory, leading to escalating conflict between the nuclear-armed neighbors. While both countries agreed to a ceasefire, Trump's decision to claim credit for the peace deal and request Indian recognition of his mediation role directly contradicted India's long-standing position that Kashmir disputes must be resolved bilaterally. Trump's suggestion that Modi meets with Pakistan's military chief and nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize represented the final straw. Modi refused both requests, and the two leaders reportedly haven't spoken since June 2025. The US responded by raising tariffs to 50% and postponing trade negotiations. Against this backdrop, Modi made his first visit to China since 2018 in August 2025. This diplomatic outreach represents a strategic recalibration rather than ideological alignment. The relationship repair process began in 2024, driven by anticipated changes in US politics. Several factors contributed to this warming: resolution of border disputes in Demchok and Depsang areas in October 2024, followed by gradual diplomatic engagement. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi's August visit to India resulted in significant border and bilateral agreements. However, this rapprochement faces structural challenges. The economic relationship remains heavily skewed. Approximately 90% of bilateral trade consists of Chinese exports to India, creating concerns about economic dependence. China's strategy of offering technology and investment packages, particularly in strategic sectors like telecommunications, presents both opportunities and sovereignty concerns for India. Xi Jinping's reference to the 1954 Punch Shield principles during recent meetings signals China's desire for stable coexistence, though India views this historical reference through the lens of past betrayals rather than future cooperation. India's current position illustrates the challenges facing middle powers in a multipolar world. The country must balance competing demands, maintaining strategic autonomy while securing essential economic partnerships, technology access, and security cooperation. Modi's route to China via Japan demonstrates India's continued commitment to diversifying partnerships. Significant economic and security agreements with Japan serve as a hedge against over-dependence on any single major power. India's choice of Japanese bullet train technology over Chinese alternatives and its indigenous development of 5G, 6G capabilities reflect this diversification strategy. The Trump administration's embrace of Pakistan, particularly military leadership, has surprised China and accelerated India's strategic recalculation. However, India's approach to China remains cautious, seeking economic benefits while maintaining strategic independence. For the United States, India's pivot creates new challenges. American policymakers are concerned about dollars earned from U.S. consumers potentially supporting Chinese economic growth through India's trade deficit with China, while India's continued Russian oil purchases fund activities contrary to U.S. interests. The current realignment demonstrates that in contemporary geopolitics, pragmatic interests often override ideological preferences. India's simultaneous cooling with the US and warming with China reflects not a fundamental shift in values, but a practical response to changing incentive structures. As these three powers navigate their complex interdependencies, the outcome will likely be a more fluid system of partnerships rather than rigid alliance structures, a reality that may define international relations for years to come.